the door, then I want to jump down the stairs and, you know, punch the first person in the face. It's like, okay, well, one sec.
Right.
Hang on. And I just like the first, and I'm still, we've only played a, you know, a few games, and I'm still a little stuck on it, but it's just really hard to, you know, really jump through.
Sure.
I guess the part I'm very curious about for 3rd edition, because I think it's one of the coolest parts about Spycraft, but also the most difficult for first-time players. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, the skill competition system, like a chase or interrogation. Thank you. It's been a little while since I ran a game, so I couldn't remember what it's called. Because it breaks it down so it's more than just, okay, roll intimidation and that's your result. But then at the same time, you're like giving this list to players that don't really know what anything means, and they're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to pick?
Yeah.
So
we spent about, I'd say, a third of our 10-hour drive here talking about that issue.
Yeah, and that was the most productive conversation we've had about that issue in a year. We've gone back and forth on this, and it was one of these situations where I was trying to describe why the dramatic conflicts didn't work for me to Alex. And over the course of that conversation, I sort of just threw out this random idea for how it might work. And like half an hour later, we were working on it as an active design. So we have an idea for how dramatic conflicts will work. We think it'll be really cool and really fast and really easy for people to understand and really flavorful. We're not quite ready to talk about it because obviously we came up with it like 48 hours ago. But you'll be seeing more about it if it actually pans out and goes through playtesting and everything. Oh, playtesting! Anyone who's here and wants to playtest, stop by our booth. We're taking names down for everyone who's playtesting. Oh, you can sign up here. All the better.
Andy's holding the clipboard.
So yeah, if you would like to,
I don't have. I'll get a pen on it.
Yeah, okay. If you'd like to play test, then put your name down and we'll get you on the list. Now, only thing I'll say about this, it doesn't guarantee you a spot on the playtest team. There will be a couple of hurdles we have to go through. They won't be anything serious. You're going to have to walk on hot coals or anything. Just basically prove that you've got a group that you regularly play, that you can critically analyze rules and give us feedback in a timely manner, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, there was a question during one of the demos about the phone numbers.
Yeah. You don't have to add your phone number on there. It's not like we're planning on calling people. It's just another way to contact playtesters. It's sometimes helpful because we might come up with a rule 48 hours ago and want feedback quicker than email will allow. So that would allow us to send some stuff into playtest fast. That's it. We're not putting you on a mailing list. We're not calling your house. None of that.
Well, this is how we fund Crafty now, is selling your phone numbers to
exactly.
folks.
Yeah, we're going to get enough from the 12 of you to manage the fun Spycraft 3rd. I'm sure that's going to work.
Just make it work safe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
It's like what you were saying, doing a test and you want like somebody who has groups. What about a newbie that wants to like give you feedback from a new person's point of view?
As like a reader, do you get it? Things like, yeah, sure.
We'll have a reader phase too, but that's a different part of playtesting. Put your name down, and we're going to contact everybody on the list and find out what your strengths are. Some people will be better at one phase, some people will be better at another. So
yeah, I think that folks who read, especially, you have to have the text at a certain level where we can give it to you and say this is getting close to the end, or we can give you a section and say, do you get it?
Right.
I'm not going to explain it to you. Do you get it? and does the book tell the story correctly? And if you can give us constructive feedback on that, that's very helpful to us because we do. One of the core goals is to attract more people who are not familiar with this, or maybe not even familiar with the genre. Other than I've seen a movie. I love James Bond movies, and really, who doesn't? Even a little bit. One of them. I mean, even if you like just Sean Connery in them, that's fine. But we want to get those people that are attracted to the genre, give them a way in through our game.
Right.
So.
Any other questions on the current topics on the floor? Any of that?
I had a quick question about Born of Ashes. Is that going to cover the heroic factions from Fire? Okay.
Yeah, all that stuff will finally make an appearance there.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll also close out the storyline and set up a pretty big open-ended campaign for you. So we're basically closing off
What you've done,
what we've
but
done.
leaving enough story open so that if we want to continue World on Fire, we can.
Exactly, and we won't have to. You won't have to worry about us interfering with it anymore because we will have closed it out. So. Okay, Spycraft 3rd, I guess. Anybody have any other things that they want to see in it? Stuff that you didn't like in 2.0 and wanted to see here?
Well, one thing that we ended up having to do is we tried contacts as the way it was described in the text
In
two.
Fantasy? Okay.
And then we kind of turned it around, almost more what you did with FantasyCraft, where contacts are a tangible resource that you tap to either do something for you or get something for you.
Right.
Such as gear or information, or
Played,
also
either the Spycraft demos here at the show, the events.
I haven't had a chance to.
Okay.
No.
But I'll let Alex talk about the fixer.
Oh yeah, the fixer is the god king of contacts and favors. Yeah, the fixer is even more so that way. Actually, he's one of the character classes where certain is going to cross over in from Fantasycraft and Spycraft. So yeah, so he works on a very different field. So he's all about knowing guys. And I know a guy who knows a guy, and pulling those in. And we're talking about some interesting things with contacts in the current, even the Fantasycraft system, about adding a little bit. Looking at them a little bit differently in the modern world where everybody's connected.
Yeah, there's one of the principal issues is that in fantasy it makes sense for people not to show up for hours at a time and for them not to come help you because
or days or weeks
days,
at a
yeah,
time.
and for them to only help you when they're near a city. But in the modern age, it's a little different. So we're gonna have to restructure contacts a little bit to account for cell phones and planes.
Right.
So.
But a spy's network, and even a gangster's network is really, really critical.
Right.
So looking at that the more organic, not just how are you supported with equipment, but how are you supported by people? Who do you know can get you? Who's influential enough to get you what you need?
Yeah, especially, and I know it's also been a great ability for tie-in just in role-play factor for background or personal goals. Achieving those types of things. Those.
Right. Yeah, and what's equally important to us is that contacts serve a narrative function. It's important that they not just be a guy who helps you, who has no face, who disappears into the night until you need him again. That guy's Fred, and he owns a goldfish, and he's got rent due and all sorts of things, and all of those elements come into play in your regular game.
Yeah.
I had another question for the group. So, what is your favorite class and why? Any class, any edition.
I'll start quick.
Okay.
I like the fixer, the one that's been brought up more recently.
Right. Okay.
That was just I've always enjoyed face characters, and it just had the right blending of